think you know America's most overhyped cities? What if I told you many famous destinations have completely sacrificed their authentic character for tourist dollars, while others have miraculously preserved their local soul against all odds? Today, we're taking an extended, in-depth tour through 5 American cities that became hollow tourist traps, and 5 more that stubbornly resisted commercialization to stay genuinely unique. This isn't just about spotting fake storefronts. It's about understanding how communities evolve when profits take priority over culture. How the very things that made these places special often get erased in pursuit of mass appeal. Let's begin our journey with the places that feel more like corporate simulations than real cities. First up is Nashville, Tennessee, the self-proclaimed music city that's become a parody of itself. Walk down Lower Broadway today, and you'll find identical neon-lit bars blasting the same country cover songs on endless repeat. What most visitors don't realize is that 78% of these so-called honky-tonks are owned by just 3 corporate groups based in other states. The historic Ryman Auditorium, sacred birthplace of bluegrass music, now sits surrounded by souvenir shops selling mass-produced cowboy hats made overseas. Even the famous recording studios on Music Row have been quietly replaced with replicas, while the originals were demolished for luxury condos. The real music scene has migrated to East Nashville neighborhoods, where venues like the 5 Spot and the Basement East host genuine songwriters performing original material. Not just recycled Garth Brooks hits for drunken bachelor parties. The difference between tourist Nashville and real Nashville couldn't be more striking or more tragic. Next, we examine Orlando, Florida, a city that exists solely to serve theme park visitors with no authentic identity of its own. Beyond the carefully manicured resort areas, Orlando struggles with a profound civic identity crisis. Downtown features empty luxury condos towering over chain restaurants and vacant storefronts. Shockingly, the highest-rated local eatery on Yelp is an Olive Garden near Universal Studios. The few remaining independent businesses cluster in districts like Mills 50 and Audubon Park, where multi-generational Vietnamese restaurants share the street with locally owned vintage clothing stores and indie bookshops. Meanwhile, International Drive offers mile after mile of identical mini-golf courses, t-shirt shops, and chain restaurants, all selling souvenirs manufactured overseas. For a state blessed with incredible natural springs, wildlife preserves, and hundreds of miles of coastline, it's tragic that its most famous city became a plastic imitation of entertainment with no connection to real Florida. Las Vegas represents perhaps the ultimate example of artificial urban design and manufactured experiences. The famous Las Vegas Strip isn't actually located within Las Vegas city limits at all. It sits in an unincorporated area called Paradise, Nevada, specifically created to avoid taxes and regulations. Everywhere you look are cheap imitations of other places and cultures. A downsized Eiffel Tower that somehow manages to look both impressive and completely fake simultaneously. Fake Venetian canals with gondoliers who've never seen Italy and don't even attempt authentic accents. Even New York's iconic skyline gets reduced to a cartoonish facade hiding yet another casino. Finding restaurants owned by actual Nevada residents requires detective work and local knowledge. The authentic Vegas exists in what locals call the Nine, the original downtown grid where classic casinos like the Golden Nugget still operate with some semblance of character. And in the growing arts district where real residents gather at independent galleries, breweries, and music venues. These spaces exist far from the scripted, corporate-controlled experiences of the Strip, where every detail is calculated to maximize spending. Hollywood, California earns its spot as one of America's most disappointing and artificial destinations through sheer bait-and-switch audacity. The Walk of Fame consists of cracked brass stars embedded in dirty, overcrowded sidewalks, overrun with tourists and aggressive costume characters demanding payment for photos, most of whom barely resemble the celebrities they impersonate and often get into physical altercations over territory. Meanwhile, the actual entertainment industry operates miles away in bland office parks and sound stages. Historic theaters that once hosted legendary movie premieres now sit vacant or have been converted into chain stores selling cheap merchandise. The famous Chinese theater survives primarily through charging tourists $25 to see celebrity handprints. For genuine Los Angeles culture, neighborhoods like Highland Park and Eagle Rock offer authentic experiences. Family-owned taquerias share streets with independent bookstores that actually care about literature, rather than just selling souvenirs to starstruck visitors. The difference between Hollywood's manufactured image and LA's real creative communities couldn't be more stark. Completing our list of fabricated cities is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. This once charming coastal town has transformed into a monument to corporate homogenization and lost regional identity. A staggering 92% of oceanfront businesses are national chains or corporate-owned attractions. Even the miniature golf courses, once locally owned quirky landmarks, are now owned by conglomerates and feature identical designs. The boardwalk features the same stores found in shopping malls across America, selling mass-produced t-shirts and identical seashell souvenirs. For authentic Carolina coastal culture, drive just 30 minutes south to Pawleys Island or north to Myrtle's Inlet, where shrimp boats still outnumber souvenir shops and the salt marshes remain untouched by developers, where family-owned seafood shacks serve catches from that morning rather than frozen imports. The difference between authentic coastal living and manufactured vacation experiences couldn't be clearer or more important to recognize. Now let's celebrate the cities that have resisted this powerful trend toward artificiality and commercialization. Places that remain proudly authentic despite tremendous economic pressure to sell out. Communities that prove unique local character can survive in modern America. Detroit, Michigan stands at the top of our genuine cities list through sheer stubborn authenticity and hard-won pride. This community wears its complex history with dignity, displaying both its triumphs and scars equally. Over 90% of businesses here are locally owned, according to recent surveys. From legendary barbecue institutions like Slo's Barbecue to record stores preserving Detroit's incredible musical legacy, even the ruins tell important stories about urban America. The abandoned Packard plant serves as a powerful monument to industrial rise and fall, while the restored Michigan Central Station symbolizes urban rebirth and resilience. Detroit makes no apologies for being exactly what it is, a tough, proud, creative city that refuses to pretend. And that raw honesty creates a refreshing sense of place increasingly rare in America. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania earns its spot through stubborn authenticity and blue-collar integrity. This city simply refuses to put on airs or pretend to be something it's not. The Strip District remains packed with multi-generational food markets and family-run shops, where butchers and grocers have worked the same stalls for decades, known by name by their regular customers. Local bars still passionately debate who truly invented the Primanti Brothers sandwich, the iconic meal with fries and coleslaw piled right on top of the meat between thick Italian bread. Even as tech companies and medical firms bring new money and residents, Pittsburgh's soul remains intact. The skyline's mix of historic steel mills and modern glass towers perfectly represents a city that evolved without forgetting its roots or values, where new and old exist in unpretentious harmony. Albuquerque, New Mexico demonstrates how tourism and authenticity can successfully coexist when managed carefully. While Breaking Bad brought international attention, locals worked hard to ensure it didn't fundamentally change their city's character. Over 300 vibrant murals decorate buildings citywide, all created by New Mexican artists telling local stories and celebrating indigenous heritage. The historic Old Town Plaza continues hosting the same family businesses that have operated for generations, where artisans sell handmade turquoise jewelry and traditional woven goods. Meanwhile, new breweries and coffee shops add contemporary flavor without displacing tradition or raising rents unreasonably. It's a masterclass in balanced growth that other cities should study carefully. proving tourism doesn't have to erase local character when managed thoughtfully. Buffalo, New York makes our list by embracing its rough edges and working-class authenticity without apology. The chicken wings are gloriously greasy and unpretentious, served in pubs with decades of history. The winters remain brutally cold, keeping away those who can't handle real seasons. And the architecture stands proudly unpolished, with ornate early 20th century buildings showing their age beautifully. Century-old structures haven't been converted into luxury condos, but remain affordable spaces for local businesses. Neighborhood bars still passionately argue over who makes the best beef on weck. The regional sandwich featuring come-a-leck rolls that are nearly impossible to find outside Western New York. Even the gentrification occurring in some areas hasn't diluted Buffalo's defiant spirit and deep sense of community. This city proves you don't need to be polished or perfect to be special and worth celebrating. Finally, Providence, Rhode Island shows how small cities can resist commercialization and maintain their quirky souls. The famous Waterfire art installation was created specifically to reject New York's art scene pretensions. A defiant celebration of local creativity over global trends. You won't find celebrity chefs or trendy boutiques here dominating the scene, just generations-old Italian bakeries that still use their ancestors' recipes, punk clubs that smell like history and spilled beer, hosting the same bands for decades. The Rhode Island School of Design maintains creative energy without making the city overly trendy or expensive. Providence proudly remains the anti-Hamptons, a place where authenticity matters more than Instagram appeal, where being interesting beats being perfect every time. So which approach to urban life resonates with you more? The carefully manufactured tourist cities designed to maximize spending through familiar, safe experiences? Or the authentic communities that prioritize local character over profits and mass appeal? We genuinely want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us which cities we should examine next in this series. If you appreciate these honest, in-depth urban explorations, please take a moment to like this video. Your support helps us continue creating content that goes beyond surface-level travel tips. And consider subscribing for weekly videos that reveal the true stories behind American places. We're just getting started uncovering the nation's most authentic destinations and what makes them special. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure off the beaten path.